Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Franchise Interviews. For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 7 years now, we've been asking the Frenchpreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Kevin Wilson, the CEO of Mosquito Joe franchise. And Mosquito Joe, a leading mosquito control treatment company, serving residential and commercial customers nationwide. And we're going to talk to Kevin about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around, because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Are you looking for a franchise that delivers? Businesses will always need shipping, and for more than 25 years, loyal customers have depended on Unishippers for reliable savings and exceptional customer service. Unishippers is focused on just one thing: helping small and medium-sized businesses save time and money on all their shipping needs. And as the largest reseller of complete shipping services in the country, we have the buying power to ensure that we succeed. The Unishippers franchise offers low startup costs, no equipment or real estate required because they're not retail, residual income, and a quality of life and work-life balance. For more information on becoming a Unishippers franchisee, go to www.unishippers.com and click Franchise Opportunities, or call Franchise Development at 801-708-5822. That's 801-708-5822.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 7 years now, we've been asking the Frenchpreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews. And as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Kevin Wilson, the CEO of Mosquito Joe franchise. And Mosquito Joe is a leading mosquito control treatment company serving residential and commercial customers nationwide. Hey Kevin, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Marty. Great to be on the show, and thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure, Kevin. I think it's a great time to start talking about all this because before you know it, we're going to be in the warmer season, aren't we? Spring and summer is hopefully right around the corner, isn't it?
Yeah, that's when our business starts to pick up for our services. Right now, we are busy recruiting new franchisees and putting them through training, getting them ready for the season.
That's fantastic. That's great. Where are you calling from today, Kevin?
I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Oh, fantastic. How's the weather there? Did you guys get hit with a lot of snow this season?
We have, our proxy is how many days of school do our kids miss, and so far it's at 5.5 days. But this most recent storm went about 60 miles west of us, so we were spared.
Oh, that's fantastic. We always like to start off, maybe we could talk a little bit about the history of Mosquito Joe. I know they have an interesting history.
Yeah, the company was started about 4 years ago by 4 individuals with young families. Mm-hmm. Their goal was simple. They wanted to allow their kids to play in the backyard without getting eaten alive. And so trial and error, they figured out something that really worked. And then the following year, they began offering it to friends, families, neighbors, and then turned it into a business. And I met them, I guess, about 2 years ago. And they had 2 trucks operating in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area, had been doing a good job, but really wanted to understand how they might be able to best grow it. I was in a role as a partner at a private equity firm, and we saw a lot of different opportunities, especially in the franchising world. Right. And I spent time looking at the opportunity, and with a couple of folks put a plan together to recapitalize the company, turn it into a franchisor, and offer this great opportunity to entrepreneurs all over the country.
That's fantastic. And it seems like you've been very successful, too, Kevin. I mean, I saw that Mosquito Joe did make the Entrepreneur Franchise 500 list, didn't they?
We did. We were very fortunate and thankful we were on that list. Our first season, we were off to a great start. Last year, January was when we began franchising. In our first season, we recruited 20 new franchisees and sold a total of 39 territories.
That's fantastic. You're listening to Franchise Interviews, and we're speaking with Kevin Wilson, the CEO of Mosquito Joe. And maybe you could talk a little bit about the Mosquito Joe franchise system, Kevin. I took my wife to our first franchise show last year, and, it seems like when people come up to the booth, aspiring franchipreneurs, they always ask the typical question, so what do you guys do? How do you typically respond to the question?
I guess my view, and I've been a franchisor before. I've run a franchise business before. Mm-hmm. I've been an investor in several franchises. My view on franchising is if somebody decides to get into franchising, it's because they want to reduce risk. And the role of a franchisor should be to dramatically reduce the risk for somebody wanting to get into business by themselves. And that's what we do, and we do that by hiring an experienced management team that can, in all the different areas of support. We do it by investing heavily in systems and software to make our franchisees in the field that much more effective and efficient in the field of what they do, and we support them heavily with marketing and branding. So I really think that's the role of a franchisor. We have one single corporate territory. We don't anticipate adding corporate territories. It's really focusing on our franchisees.
That's fantastic. I think it's a great response. I was watching one of the YouTube videos earlier with Mosquito Joe, and it is such a common problem too, isn't it? I mean, as far as like being a prisoner, I know my wife and I, we feel like that a lot, as far as not being able to go outside. Here, this part of Pennsylvania, I mean, it's just really pretty, great view and everything like that, but when you sit out on the deck, it's just, it doesn't last very long. So, I mean, this is just, it's such a great service, and it's such a common problem too, isn't it?
It is a problem, and it's becoming more of a problem. I mean, mosquitoes have been here forever. We know that through our own research, every single state has a mosquito problem. So this is not just confined to states with more lakes or in the south. Right. This is really everywhere. Our slogan and our belief is our goal is to make outside fun again, and that's what we tell everybody. And that's the vision for the company is to create Mosquito Joe to become a household name across the United States. We believe that spraying for mosquitoes in your backyard will become as common in the future as it is today having your lawn cut or your yard sprayed.
Right. That's fantastic. How has technology, if it has, played a role in your business, Kevin?
That's a good question. I think there's two areas where it's played a role. The first is just the backpack sprayer that we use. I mean, a relatively new, something in the last probably 5 to 10 years, which has allowed, if you probably remember the city trucks coming up and down your streets spraying stuff. What the backpack sprayer has allowed is to take that and portabilize it and put it into so you can get into your backyard. And so what's done on the street can that. So that's one area of technology. And then, we are big believers in social media. There's a large component of social media to our business. We use a lot of software to help route optimize. We have a customer management system. So there's a lot of technology component to this as well. One of the benefits of franchising is we're able to take all these different softwares. I think we have 6 different software packages and bring it together all in one sort of what we call our integrated management system. It all comes together and works seamlessly with one another. That allows our franchisee to really focus on what's important, which is serving the customer.
Yeah, it's fantastic too. It was funny. I was talking about this last night with my students. I mean, social media is really a lot of work, and there's a lot of people who are just getting into it that just don't really even understand it, do they? So I think that's fantastic that you have that, provide that for your franchisees.
It is a ton of work, and it's important that our head of marketing here is Angela Zerda, and she's outstanding in a lot of different areas, and especially social marketing. And she understands that if you're going to, you can't have one foot in the boat and one foot out when you're doing social media. Yeah. You're either all in or you're all out. We've chosen to be all in, so we are active on blogging. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook. How people get their information. That's what it's all about.
Sure.
How do customers right now get information to make decisions? And it's all through the internet now and those various software platforms that are out there.
That's fantastic. Are there any numbers on this industry, Kevin? I mean, I imagine it's a pretty big industry. We're talking about mosquitoes, and you mentioned, it's really a national problem, across the whole United States, and I guess even universal. But are there any numbers on the industry?
It's a good question. I think there's a few different numbers. I'll answer that question a couple ways. One, just in terms of the market size, we know that the pest control industry is about a $3 billion a year market, so it's quite robust. What we don't know is how much of that is outside the home where we compete. But we do know a couple things. One, it's growing extremely fast. It's probably outside pest control is probably the fastest growing segment of that entire pest control market. That's for sure. And I did recently read a report, now specifically on mosquitoes and then West Nile virus. A report came out that said West Nile virus, the effects of it has cost the economy several $100 million just by medical stays, hospital stays. 2012 was a particularly bad year, and West Nile is only transmitted through mosquitoes.
Well, you wonder if there's always like that increase in your business too. When people start hearing about that, the West Nile. I know there's a lot of people. My wife has friends, and you always have that concern, don't you? With mosquitoes. I mean, it is pretty scary, isn't it?
It is. We don't market our services to our customers on the fear of getting mosquitoes, and we certainly don't recruit franchisees on that. But you can't ignore the fact that 2012 was the single biggest year for West Nile virus in this country. You couldn't pick up a paper every week, and there was a new article on West Nile. And so it just generates top-of-mind awareness, and it's a natural reaction from a consumer to try to do something to protect yourself against that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. What's been the most interesting thing that's happened to you since being with Mosquito Joe, Kevin? Is there anything that stands out? I'm sure you've had a lot of different experiences and stories, but could you narrow it down to one different event, maybe?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's been any. Yeah, I don't know if there's been any one single event. I know that one of the things I've really enjoyed about this over the last 18 months is meeting the different people that have chosen to become our franchise partners and work with us, because we have an incredible group of franchisees, and they all have very interesting backgrounds. We have some pilots, we have teachers. We just have a broad array of executives. We have owner-operators. We've got an Army Ranger. That's a Ranger for 22 years. He served his country. With just a lot of very interesting people. So I don't know if there was any one single event, but there have been a lot of different experiences that have caused me to really enjoy what I'm doing. I'm totally passionate about this. I'm passionate both about helping people get into business for themselves and create an opportunity for them to help make their lives better. And I'm also passionate about the end result that comes from helping families enjoy their backyard again.
I mean, it is interesting. I mean, when you think of the service, it's like you say. I mean, and I love the slogan too about helping families enjoy their backyard again, because it's true. I mean, you really do become a prisoner, don't you?
You really do.
Yeah.
You really do. I mean, we have, we stream, we survey our customers a couple times each over the course of the season, and then those results are streamed to our website, and all the comments that we get from our customers are streamed to the website, and it's compelling. It is game changing for these people and how much they enjoy their backyards. One of our franchisees, the reason they got into it was their little daughter was allergic to mosquitoes, and they could not send her outside. So there's some great stories like that, and we certainly feel great about what we do.
Another thing I liked about your franchise, too, is you were talking about the diversity of your franchisees, and I thought that was very important, Kevin. I also like to, you're doing something with Liberty Tax. Did you want to talk a little bit about that? I thought that was interesting. I didn't have all the information on it, but it sounded like something fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Liberty Tax actually happens to be based here in Virginia Beach, so we're very, very well aware of it. Great company, well-run company. And so you got some great franchisees. A few of my executives had worked at Liberty Tax before. One of the things about Liberty Tax is that, and that's not just Liberty Tax, but Jackson Hewitt falls into that, H&R Block falls into that. Their business goes from January until late March. That's when 95% of their business is done. They hire a lot of people in December to service that. Then they have to let them go in March. We now have 3 of our franchisees that are Liberty Tax franchisees that are rolling over some of their great people into the system, so they can keep these people from March, some places all the way to October and November. We have a couple franchisees in Texas that will be spraying into December. So it's a great complementary seasonal business, and I would expect we would see more of that in the future.
That's fantastic. I remember when we had them on the show, we had John Hewitt and some of their franchisees on the show, and, we asked them, we said, well, what do you do the rest of the year? And they said, well, play golf. And I said, well, how much can you play golf? That's a lot of golf, So I thought it was a very interesting match, between you and Liberty Tax, and it made a lot of business sense, So I thought that was fantastic. What characteristics do you look for then in your franchisees, Kevin?
I guess when we that's a great question, because we're still a young franchisor, and we're still sorting through those things. But there's no question that what we look for is a history, a track record. Are these people that tend to stay with things for a while and work through? So have they shown commitment in different areas? We look for people that have deep ties in the community. I mean, that's important to us. This business is a local business, and your success is going to be determined on how well you can engage customers in your neighborhood. And so having deep ties, so in the baseball diamonds, pools, soccer clubs, all of those things will help ensure more success for the franchisee. So those are some of the things we look for as well. And we look for people that can listen. That's a very important attribute. We certainly don't claim to know it all, but we do know that we've got a system. We've proven that the system works. And so what we don't want is somebody coming into the system and the first thing they try to do is change everything. Show us you know how to implement the system we've developed, and then if you got ideas on how to make it better, we're all ears. We want to hear that. We've had some great ideas already coming in from our franchisees, but don't come in and immediately try to change the system. So we try to ask questions when they come in for their discovery process. We try to ask questions, engage. If they're going to be like that. Our goal is to get a good selection of franchisees. We say no to a lot of people simply because we just don't think they're a good fit. And that's one of the most important things you can do is make sure there's a good fit on both sides.
Yeah, I think that's very well said. What's the training like? Once you decide that you like them, they like you, do they come to corporate headquarters? Is that how it works? Yeah, we have what we do is we have a very structured 4 days of training here in Virginia Beach in our office. It's a combination of classroom training where you learn more than you thought you would ever know about mosquitoes and ticks and other biting insects. You learn about our chemicals. You learn about our software. Then there's practical in the field experience where you actually go out, go to different homes, understand what to look for at different homes, what to spray, and then actually conduct sprayings. That's really very structured 4 days, and that's really the beginning of the training. And then afterwards, there's a series of webinars that we have online. We have a very robust library full of information that at their leisure from home, from their computer. And again, it gets back to sharing stuff in the most efficient way for the franchisees. We have a lot of training materials that they can go through on their own. And then, of course, when they open, Tim Johnson, our director of operations, he makes a trip out to the location and helps with the opening process. That's fantastic. The webinars are great too, aren't they? I mean, it could be 2:00 in the morning, and you could just go onto a webinar and watch a video. If you're up or you have a question.
It really is, and it's all about getting information to the person in the most efficient way for them to absorb it and when they want to absorb it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's well said. You're listening to Franchise Interviews, and we're speaking with Kevin Wilson, the CEO of Mosquito Joe. And how would you describe a typical day for a Mosquito Joe franchisee, Kevin, if there is such a thing?
Yeah, I think we really have two types of franchisees. We have the true owner-operator franchisee, and then we have the investor-owner, somebody that keeps their job, hires a person to run it for them. And so depending on the franchisee, the day can look a little bit different. But for an owner-operator, the day would start usually meeting his crew, putting the schedule together, making sure their jobs are being done. Then it would be, if it's on the Monday, returning calls from the weekend, quoting business. And then part of the day would be then marketing and going out and finding places where you might be able to hang banners, but a lot of marketing in the afternoon, and then fielding customer calls over the course of the day. We have a very effective way of recruiting customers with our marketing program. So those calls, especially Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, after the weekend, tend to be very busy days for call volume coming in. So that's really it. It's time spent serving customers, following up with customers after their first service, making sure that things were done well, that they're happy. But it's usually a day that is it starts early to get the guys out, but it's usually done by 5 or 6 o'clock at night. Our franchisees may work on some Saturdays, but generally it's a Monday to Friday unless there's spillover to Saturday, and we almost never work Sundays.
That's fantastic. It's such a benefit of franchising, too, isn't it, Kevin? As you're describing the typical day, that your franchisees, they don't have to reinvent anything, do they? It's all pretty much laid out, and you know what works and what doesn't work, and it really is a terrific benefit of franchising, isn't it?
I think it is. It's a business and a system in a box, and you just have to open the box, implement it. And really what it allows the franchisee to do, which is, as I mentioned earlier, is just to focus on the most important thing, which is to make sure that you hire the right people, you teach them well how to do the service, but then you really keep your customer happy. And if you're able to do that, what we know about our business is that we have a very high customer retention rate. It was 82% last year.
Wow.
So we get people back year after year. And then we also have a high Net Promoter Score, which is really gauges the loyalty of a customer. And our system of 70% Net Promoter Score is extremely high. And so those two common attributes tell us our customers are very happy with the service.
That's fantastic. The repeat sale is great, isn't it? To get that business year after year after year after year, it certainly changes the business, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, the way we have what we call our 5 compelling opportunity, and one of them, and I think one of the most important ones, is what you just mentioned, Marty, which is the recurring revenue model.
Yeah.
And it is a business that it starts with the initial call that comes in, and within about 10 minutes you can answer that person's customer's questions. You can quote them over the phone and then book the business. And then every 21 days you go out and service that customer's home, and then you have a retention rate that's just very high coming back the next year. So when you start business in the following season, you're starting with a very large book of business already. It's not like you're starting from zero. You're starting with a very large book of business and growing from there. So we really like that aspect of the business. It's a great business model.
That's fantastic. In studying your background, Kevin, I mean, you certainly classify you as an entrepreneur, and the majority of our listeners, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. You know, most of them know that they want to get into franchising, but it seems like they don't know where to begin. What advice would you give to our listeners?
You know, I think the most important thing is I always say there's three questions you really have to answer. The first is that decision that do you really want to be in business? Do you really want to be in business for yourself? Because it's a lot of responsibility. It's not something that you turn off when you go home. I mean, it's on. So that's the first question. And then I think the second question you have to answer is then what industry do you want to be in? There's a lot of different industries out there. You can be in retail food. You could be in other services business. What is it that you like? Do you like engaging customers or not engaging customers? Would you rather sell to businesses or would you rather sell to consumers? That's the second question. And once you figure out the industry, then I think you have to figure out, okay, who in that industry do you want to partner with? And so in our industry, as an example, we have competitors out there. We have Mosquito Squad, Mosquito Authority are a couple of our competitors. We think we fare very, very well against them in a lot of different ways. And so you just have to go in and try to understand the differences across each of these opportunities. But I would just do it in that order. Answer those three questions and work through it. And see what comes up. And then there's lots of different places where you can do your research online. There's different portals out there. There's brokers, if you want to go that route, who could help you with evaluating opportunities as well.
Wow, I think that's great advice. So what's next for Mosquito Joe? I mean, if you could look 3 to 5 years down the road, Kevin.
We think, and what we believe is that when we look at the country, there's room for 400 to 500 territories across this country. You know, we now have sold 48 territories, so we have a lot of work ahead of us. We think that on average, about just over half of our franchisees sign up for multiple territories. So we're looking for 150 really good, qualified for entrepreneurs or people that would want to be a Mosquito Joe franchisee. We've got about 24 now, so we've got quite a ways to go. But we're off to a great start, and that's our focus. Our sole focus is to find those quality people over the next several years and build Mosquito Joe into a household name across the United States.
That's fantastic. What's the best way, Kevin, for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee? Any websites, any phone numbers you'd like them to call?
Yeah, Mosquito Joe, www.mosquitojoe.com or mosquitojofranchise.com. Just punch in Mosquito Joe and our website will pop right up, and there's a little form you can fill out. You will immediately get a response back with some more information, and you can begin your discovery process and learn more about Mosquito Joe.
That's fantastic. I want to thank you so much again, Kevin, for coming on the show today, and I'd already like to invite you back next year as you continue to grow. I think you have a great service and a great franchise.
Thank you, Marty, and thanks for having us on the show. Really enjoyed being with you.
It's our pleasure, Kevin, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, Franchise Interviews has been hosting franchise interviews for almost 6 years now and almost 300 shows, and during that time we've had some incredible quotes on our show. Today you're going to get to hear from Art Collet, who is the president of Alpha Graphics, and Art has a wonderful quote. He says that franchising is one of the greatest inventions for small business, and he kind of expands why, so here we go.
Fantastic program. I mean, when I saw it, I said I thought this was very exciting for you guys, you know, and it's going to be interesting to watch it. I mean, it sounds like your franchise partners are certainly going to appreciate something like this, and I guess that's the benefit of getting into franchising as well, isn't it, Art? You know, is to, you know, have a program like this, you know, a very strong program that the franchisees can really benefit from.
Yeah, I tell you, Marty, you know, you said something earlier. You know, I was saying earlier about, you know, that nearly 10 years of restaurant ownership. Mm-hmm. There were months, Marty, and we were not a franchise. There were months, Marty, where I begged for somebody to send a royalty check to, because I thought, man, if somebody could bring me some turnkey marketing programs, if somebody could bring me some training solutions that were already ready to go for the employees and how to hire them and who's the right person, how to recruit them, if somebody could bring me a process for creating more traffic at my restaurant or operational workflow and checklist. Marty, I believe, you know, and I've had people, you know, great people like, you know, Bud Hadfield, and I can, you know, go down the list of just the names of people that have, you know, are in my cell phone that I can call anytime. I mean, John Luther over at Duncan Brands and Jim Amos, who, you know, led mailboxes, et cetera, and you know all these names. I think I'm honored being on your show today, just knowing those guys.
Thank you.
People like that are people that you've interviewed. But you know, franchising, I believe, is the greatest invention for small business ownership.
Yeah.
Because franchising doesn't change the fact that you're still a small business owner.
Exactly.
All franchising should do, I mean, my job as president of Alpha Graphics is to take people who have decided they want to be a small business owner and they want to do it in this arena of providing visual communication solutions, whether that's document solutions or marketing solutions. But my job as president of Alpha Graphics is just simply to take the hurdles that may be 6 feet high if you're out there on your own trying to do it yourself, and let's take them down to 6 inches. The hurdles are still there. You're still going to have employee issues. You're still going to have operational issues. You still need to have somebody. You're still going to deal with your financials in your business. And I think sometimes prospective franchisees forget that.
Yes.
They forget that they're still. They may possibly think the franchisor is going to take those problems away. And there are some that we do remove off the table, but for the most part, they're all still there. We just have systems and approach and coaching and support to help you manage that. And now it's a little speed bump in the road in the road instead of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next week with another edition of Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.